Readers, today our objective is I can identify the time, place, and historical significance of the setting of my book and decide if I have enough background knowledge to move forward in my reading. Readers, what we're doing is reading analytically. We're studying parts of the book that give us clues about what's going on. The facts, the feelings, the setting, and those three things can be asked with these questions. When, where, and what? We ask ourselves these questions to make sure that we have a good amount of knowledge to understand what our characters are facing, what they're going through. Our whole goal for this unit is to really be analyzing and studying characters. So these three questions we're going to be taking a look at today. When, where, and what? And we're actually going to use Pink and Say because we need to be, because we're going to focus on a familiar text. And you guys all read that yesterday. I'm going to pull out a few pages from our text, Pink and Say by Patricia Polacco. And I'm going to ask myself these questions: when, where, and what? So this is the very first page in the text. And I know that there was a clue in here about where this story is taking place. And I have it highlighted there for you. It said that Sheldon had been injured in a fierce battle and was left for dead in a muddy, blood-soaked pasture somewhere in Georgia. So we know the state that he's in. But then there's also some descriptive details on where in Georgia he was left. Muddy, blood-soaked pasture. If it's a blood-soaked pasture, I'm guessing there's going to be a war. And I can also look at pictures in this first page to determine this is setting way back in historical times. You can tell it looks like a farm. There's some older tools being used in that picture. But also he's wearing a uniform. So I'm guessing that this is probably going to be about a war. The next page, when, where, and what? Well, we can see Sheldon laying there in that field, but there's some other clues in the text. He was flying Union colors. Now, I have done enough research about this time period to know what union means, but if you're thinking, I don't know what that means, then maybe we don't know quite enough yet, but that's a significant clue about Union colors. That's like what group he was belonging to. On this page, when, where, and what? There were some clues in the text. Right down there at the bottom, talking about the master's house. And like at the end it says, boy, when you owned, you ain't got no name of your own. So right there, having a master's house and saying that they were owned, this gives me clues about what time period this was. This is when slavery was happening because slaves were owned by their masters. When, where, and what on this page? There's a big clue right here about a time frame. It says, then when they did finally give us muskets, they were from the Mexican-American War. Those muskets jammed and misfired. The Mexican-American War. We haven't really studied that yet, but that's a big clue for us about the time frame from this Revolutionary War to what period we might be in now. We can go back and do some more research to find out when that took place and where we are in time right now. So the Mexican-American War already happened because they were using muskets, which were guns, that were from that war. So that already took place. When, where, and what on this page? To be born a slave is a heap of trouble. So, right there, another clue about slavery. When, where, and what on this page? I touched Mr. Lincoln's hand. It were near Washington. So right there, this character, Sheldon, actually touched Mr. Lincoln's hand. They're talking about President Abraham Lincoln. So now we know what time period this is really starting to take place in. All these clues, slavery and Abraham Lincoln. If you know enough about this, great. If you don't, and you're asking yourselves questions, keep asking yourself those questions. And at the end of this lesson, I'm going to tell you how you can handle this and learn more information. So, I can identify the time, place, and historical significance of the setting of my book and decide if I have enough background knowledge to move forward in my reading. We're going to be asking ourselves these questions. Do I know enough about when the story took place? We've learned today that this is taking place during Abraham Lincoln's time. Do we know enough about that? It's when slavery took place. Do we really know enough about that? Do we know enough about this setting of being in Georgia, of during this wartime? Do we know the significance of Georgia and the position of where they were during that war? Georgia is an important clue. Do I know enough about the historical significance of this setting? The historical significance. This was a huge, important time in our country's history. And if we don't know enough about it, can we really get a deeper understanding of this text and what the characters are facing? So, can I move forward in my reading? If I know so much information about all of these questions in this text, then I can move forward. But if I don't know enough, the answer might be no. I can't really move forward in my reading and deeper understanding. So, I need to do more research. Where can I look to find out more? You guys have been learning this year how to do research. So I am confident that you guys will be able to do this. You can read more books, nonfiction books about this topic in this time period. You can search online. You can watch historical videos on that time period. You can even talk to grown-ups about that time period. When you go to do your assignment today, I will actually give you some resources that you can click on to go and find more information about these topics to help support your understanding. Your assignment today. Yesterday, you read the historical fiction text, Pink and Say by Patricia Polacco. You can reread that again today if you want. Today, you will answer the questions listed below and decide if you can move forward in your reading or if you need to do more research to deepen your understanding of Pink and Say. So down there are the questions. Do I know enough about when the story took place? Do I know enough about the setting? Do I know enough about the historical significance of the setting? Can I move forward in my reading to get that deeper understanding? If you answered no, you're going to respond and tell us no. You're also going to then go do some more research so that you can get a deeper understanding. If the answer is yes, you know all about this, then you are going to be writing all that you know about this time period.